This lesson will be all about fractions and division. Your objective of this lesson is to learn how to write fractions on a number line. The first thing you need to learn what to do in order to write numbers on a line is realize that fractions and division are strongly related. This first question says 7 divided by 9. If you were to write this in a fraction format, your 7 would be your numerator and 9 would be your denominator. So 7 divided by 9 actually equals the fraction of 7/9. 1 divided by 4 is the fraction 1 over 4, which is 1/4. And finally, if you were to do 3 divided by 5, your ending fraction would be 3 as your numerator and 5 as your denominator to make the fraction 3/5. The main problems in this lesson focus on being able to write a fraction on a number line. On this paper, you can see that I wrote a number line that was ranging from 0 to the whole number of 1. Everything in the middle on this number line is going to be a fraction. In the middle, I have labeled 5/10. I'm going to go through and label what each of these points actually mean on your number line. Starting from left to right, I have divided this number line into different sections. Each section is going to be worth a tenth. So starting from the left, this first one is going to be 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. 5/10 has been named, which is also the same as 1/2. Moving to the right of 5/10, we have 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and finally we have 10/10, which is just the same thing as the whole number of 1. Your questions will ask you to write the following numbers that are red on this number line. The first one we're going to look at is 3/10. Now looking at our previous slide, we can easily jot this down on our map. If we're working at from the middle, 5/10, I know that directly to the right we have 4/10, and then to the left of that we have 3/10. So my first dot is going to be right at the 3/10 line. Your next fraction is going to be 7/10. So I'm going to move to the right of my 5/10, knowing that this is 6/10 and 7/10, and I can mark my line right there. The last one we're going to do is 9/10, and I'm also going to still keep working to the right. So next to 7/10 we have 8/10, 9/10, and 10/10, which is 1. 9/10 mark will be right above the 9/10 line. This is how you would mark these types of fractions on a number line. However, sometimes your denominator is not going to be a 10, so it's not going to be as perfectly divided out as you think. In order to plot a number or a fraction on a number line, you first have to do the following rules. The first thing you need to do is divide your number line out by the denominator. In my fraction below, it looks like I'm going to be plotting out 5/8. So I need to make sure that my number line 0 through 1 is going to have 8 sections instead of 10 sections like that was shown before. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I plot lines showing that I have 8 equal sections on this number line. You can see here, now I have 8 sections. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First part is done. The second part I'm going to do is just quickly jot out what each of these fractions are on my number line. And I'm going to keep doing this while this concept is new. Later on, it won't be required. So I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8, which is the same thing as 1. So if I were wanting to plot 5/8, I'm just going to put a dot right above 5/8 on my number line. Here's another problem where it says to graph out this fraction on the number line. I'm going to take my steps that I used before and relate it to this problem. First thing I need to do is look at the denominator. My denominator is 3, meaning that my number line should be divided into 3 sections that are equal to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. 1, 2. Now I have 3 equal sections. You can see I have section 1, section 2, section 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and jot this one down as 1/3 and this one as 2/3, meaning my next 9 would be 3/3, which is the same thing as your whole number of 1. If I were to mark this on my number line, your point is going to go right above where it says 2/3. Same type of problem. I'm looking at the denominator. I'm going to create 9 equal sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice, even though I'm writing 8 lines, I'm starting from this first point of 0, so if you were to count those, I have 9 different sections. Now, this time, I'm just going to take a different approach and start from the right to the left, but you could easily start from left to right. I know this one right here is going to be 9/9, so this must be 8/9, 7/9, 6/9, 5/9, 4/9, 3/9, 2/9, 1/9. And I could have easily just stopped right when I hit the 6/9 mark. And that is where you would plot your dot. I want you to try this one on your own. Feel free to pause the video and do this as practice problem number 1. First thing I'm going to do is look at the denominator of 8, and I'm going to jot this out into 8 different sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice that my sections are very, very evenly spaced. A bad example would be having lines that are not evenly spaced across your whole number line, so double check on that. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure that I'm counting. Because 7/8 is closer to 1 than it is to 0, I'm going to work from right to left. So I know this one right here must be 8/8, so this one must be 7/8, and I'm going to make my dot right above the 7/8. That would be the correct answer. Some questions might ask you to use a number line to name point A. You can see on this number line, we need to name the fraction. So first thing we're going to do is figure out what the denominator is. So I need to count up how many different sections of numbers there are. I'm just going to be counting the spaces, not the lines. If you count each individual line, like the line that I circled, you're always going to end up one short. So count the spaces. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is going to be a denominator of 7 in this problem. Next thing I'm going to do is then count the lines, because this is going to be 1/7, 2/7, 3/7. So your answer for your problem is going to be 3/7. Let's try another one. I'm first going to count the spaces on my number line. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my denominator for this problem is going to be 11. Next thing I'm going to do is just count up my fractions or count the lines. So this is going to be 1/11, 2/11, 3/11, 4/11, 5/11, 6/11, 7th eleventh, 8 elevenths. And you can feel free to stop right there. Your answer is going to be 8 elevenths. If I were to keep on going, I could see that this would actually perfectly match up because we've hit 11th elevenths, which happens to be the whole number of 1. I want you to try on your own. I want you to look at this number line and I want you to go ahead and figure out what was point, let's call this point B. Feel free to pause and figure this one out by yourself. Hopefully the first thing that you decided to do was to count the spaces. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So 5 is going to be my denominator. And then I'm going to go ahead and count the lines. So this would be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and 5/5. And you can see that our point is right on where it says 2/5. Thank you for watching. Feel free to circle how well you understand with your smiley face. Thanks.